Right, hello there, everyone. Welcome back to James Redmond TV and welcome to another live stream. Trent Goal, our England playing. I've only just found that out from starting the stream, to be fair. I've been in work all day and then I came home, I had a little desperado and I done a video. Well, I never done a video. I done a editing thing where I just posted a video earlier and then I came on and I'm here now with you lot and it's boss. If you do enjoy, smash a like. If not, smash a dislike. Trent scored. Let me have a look at the goal. Trent had a screamer. Chat, was it a good goal? Was it a good goal? England, who are England even playing? I didn't even clock this. Trent goal. Yeah, no one cares about the Nation League games. Let's be dead honest with ourselves. An absolute unreal goal, apparently. Alexander Arnold. What? Chat, I don't know if it's just because they're playing in the pre-season. Is Trent Alexander-Arnold the new number 10 for England? Jeez, is Gareth Southgate rating him like that as a midfielder? Yeah. Jeez! Hopefully that'll give Jurgen Klopp some inspiration to play him in midfield, because that was a hell of a goal, and it was more in an advanced position, and I'm assuming he's playing in midfield, because that's what I've heard. Fair play, fair play, fair play. Yes, James. Yes, Festus. Shout out to you. He also played in midfield, but Malta is Malta. Malta is Malta, and we can't just get dingo thing, but it's a good game to test it, and for him to score means he's doing the bare minimum of what you expect to achieve against Malta, scoring world-class goals, baby. So fair play to Trent. Proud of him getting in the midfield in England finally, even though it's against Malta. Malta is Malta. Is it the Nations League or a friendly? I don't even think we're big enough to be in the Nations League, are we? But anyway, guys, we're going to go and get straight into the first topic. Tonight was more of a short notice stream. It was one of those where I know you've been expecting it later in the night, and, you know, I don't know how long I'm going to be live for, but I just thought I'd get it out the way just because after work I am absolutely knackered. But there's loads of things that we need to talk about. One of the first things is going to be Mohamed Salah to PSG or Mohamed Salah to Saudi. These were rumours that were very, very quiet and weren't really on the surface, but there was murmurings about, of course, Salah's contract ends in 2 years, and if Liverpool were to get a significant offer, would they entertain the offer? Now, it weren't highlight talks, because, let's be honest, I think everybody would absolutely flip the shit, including myself, if Salah was sold before getting a replacement, or even getting sold in general. Even if you got an adequate replacement, how do you replace Mohamed Salah's goals? And I know it's came across like I've gave Salah a couple of digs the past few days, but you've got to call the spade a spade. The goals are goals, and the assists that he gets are assists. I mean, he still directly contributes, and that's a very important factor for the forward. So I've never disputed that in any debate that I've had about Salah. And the thing about Salah, it's this: the mental game is what gets him a lot further. The mental game is what got him from, you know, a decent winger at Roma to one of the best wingers in the world at Liverpool. And this is why it's important that you do have a player like that within your ranks, especially when a lot of the older players now are getting finished. And at least Salah is someone who can still inspire you based on numbers. Ronaldo is being heavily inspired on based on numbers and his IQ to be able to get goals. Those who can add the volume. Stat merchants think that stats are a bad thing. Stats aren't a bad thing. If you can find a way to get goals, great. But it's a team sport, which is why in some circumstances it can take away from the overall premise of the team. But if we had Salah and 10 other good players around him who can play collectively as a team, and Salah can do his bits, then that is going to be a very thriving Liverpool team, because you just need that one guy, and Salah is that guy who can get 30 to 40 goals in a season. So if I did see him go, I would have been fuming and I would have ranted, and people would have been like, James, how dare you rant, you hate Mo Salah. I love Mo Salah. I love him more than you. In fact, I know I love him more than you. Do you want me to tell you why I love him more than you? Because I actually identify the things he can improve on. You're just that friend who, even if your friend is fat, you're going to say that they look like a skinny bitch. No, you need bigger size clothes. Let's get the script together. And it's the same thing. I'm just brutally honest about Salah, that he has his inconsistencies, but it actually makes him so good that he's very one-dimensional and he still scores that many goals. I don't get how people can't process that information, because he is genuinely one of the best goal scorers in the world. Thoughts on Robbo being captain? Chat, is this news? What do you mean, thoughts on Robbo being captain? For who? For Scotland? Because if so, that's standard. And if it's for Liverpool, what sense? Is he the vice captain? Is he the head captain? Or are you asking me Robbo being captain is what you want? I wouldn't mind Robbo being captain. I think he's better than some of the choices that we currently got in line. So, I mean, the real question is vice captain. But, it's just one of those things where if Robbo was the vice-captain, which I don't think he will be, I think he'd do a good job. Thuram and Veiga next. For sure, Thuram and Veiga is going to be next on the agenda. Let's get right into it. Chat, who would you rather prefer? Would you prefer Thuram or would you prefer Veiga? We need two midfielders, so it's a bit of a silly question. The main question I'm trying to identify is both of these guys are actually significantly different players in a sense of Veiga is more of a passive player. He's someone who, if you want to compare these two, you can relate a Veiga more of a stylistic Thiago type player, which is something Jurgen Klopp wanted when he bought Thiago. And then Thuram, he has got his differences, certainly more physical, but more of a genie type player. He's the physical runner in the midfield. Doesn't really have superior technical ability, I'll be honest. In some of his best clips, his technical ability has looked sound in some, but then I've seen more clips, and I'm not going to lie, I'm not a big fan of his technical ability as a whole, but his midfield presence is certainly something that can be useful in the Premier League. You can't dispute it. The guy's a beast, and he's about 20 years of age, so I wouldn't mind both. I think both would be great, and I think we need both, because Thiago coming in wearing a bad thing, the bad thing was we had no legs to replace Gini Wijnaldum. Gini needed to go, the same way a lot of these players have needed to go. But we never got the adequate replacements or the efficient replacements. The same way we didn't replace Mane efficiently. Maybe we have done in time. Diaz has been a little bit unlucky. But I'm just simply saying there's some things that we do need to stay on top of. And Veiga and Thuram are the type of players that we need to identify. Whether it's them two or players like that, these are the two profiles of player that I really want to see Liverpool buy. The only reason why I question Veiga is because of Bajcetic. I wonder if we're just going to get legs to accommodate missing legs, because Henderson's not getting any younger. Milner's already gone. Are we going to get two runners, or are we going to get one runner and then one more on-the-ball type player who can improve us in possession? That's the question that I want to raise to y'all. Festa says, I want a more physical player, not a Thiago. Like, I just see football different. I love teams that press. They teams that are silky. I don't care how we play. Festus, I respect your opinion. Do you know what it sounds like? In Festus, you are actually the same as me, and you might not know it. You want to see efficient football, my friend. You don't care if it's tiki-taka or high pressing. You want to see efficient winning football. Exactly. That's my agreement. And this is why I don't mind Salah playing in a team that's thriving. If a team's thriving and has got a Mo Salah to score 30 goals, great. Because guess what? I care about efficient football. I don't care if you do lack in certain areas individually. If you can make it work, then make it work, baby. And it's the same that goes with Jurgen Klopp. If you can make a pressing team work, getting 97 and 99 points, then go with that approach. And if you go with that approach, you might just get what you've been getting. So I do believe we have just been missing those legs in the midfield, and I do think Thuram could be the guy to add to those legs. It is what he's designed for as a midfielder. It is what he's been doing in the French league. So that's why I always raise the question about Thuram. Yes, he's still got a lot to prove, but he has got the one thing we know. He's strong. If PSG offer the big bucks for Salah, like 70, 80 mil, then maybe we would be wise to take it so he doesn't leave on a free in 2 years' time. Chat, I think this is actually a very interesting debate of conversation. If this offer comes through and you are the owners, are you selling Mohamed Salah? 70, 80 million. Bear in mind that if we are to get more additions, we need to start selling some assets. That's the model. Whether you agree, disagree, it doesn't matter what you think, because that's just the way it is. That's what Johnny told me. I learned a lot about FSG in the interview with Johnny, and he told me a lot about we kind of need to do stuff like this. Maybe it's not Salah specifically, but we do need to actually get rid of players so we can bring in players. I see people in the chat saying no, never. I agree, I wouldn't sell him either, because I believe we have got the funds to not only improve the team if Salah went, but improve the team with Salah there. I do still think we've got those resources. I just think it's a bit of a cop-out saying things like, oh, we are sell to buy and only sell to buy. You always have to sell assets the same way you always have to bring in assets. In recent times, it's just been more selling and less bringing in, and the net spend suggests that it's slightly in the favour for spending money, but that's what you'd expect as you're an improving team. You spend a little bit more and more each year, or you can spend a little bit more and more each year. You can't spend 100 million every summer if you're FSG, but if you're an owner that wants to at least compete, then you have to get close to that surface of price. So yeah, that's why I raised the question. Shout out to later later 80s. Thank you for the super chat, mate. I'm sorry I can't pronounce your name. I get confused when they're all capital letters, different sizes. Clueless Cookie, shout out to you, sir. Long time no see. I can't be doing with another Thiago. I think he's so mid for us. Guys, be careful. Be careful. I don't think that because Thiago hasn't been great. And by the way, Thiago's still been really good. Like Johnny said something yesterday, like Thiago isn't good. Thiago isn't good. In the quadruple chasing season, Thiago was phenomenal. And if this is something that we disagree on, then we might need to go and rewatch that season again. The main issue has been injuries. How come it's one thing for Thiago, and then when it's Oxlade-Chamberlain, it's, unlucky Oxlade. What a player, he could have been the next Steven Gerrard. It's like, so wait there, so we're going to accommodate him because of his injuries, but when it's Thiago or someone, we don't have that same energy. In my opinion, Thiago has actually played well. It's just a case of he's not reliable. Your greatest ability in football, especially for Liverpool, is your availability. Thiago was never available. So in that sense, I understand that it hasn't worked out. But if Thiago was the Thiago that was at Barcelona, if he was the Thiago at Bayern Munich, then we have got a ruthless motherfucker. One of the best in the world. Somebody along the lines of a Xabi Alonso. Genuinely, Thiago is that level. He is that level or just below or just above. It's either or. Thiago is there and thereabouts, though, sir. And you love Xabi Alonso the same way I love Xabi Alonso. So let's not get into recency bias and say, we do not want technical players at all. If it benefits the system, and Jurgen Klopp wants it, because he's trying to improve something, let the man cook. Let the man do his thing. But we do need to get two different profile of midfielders, guys. We need legs, and we also need a passer. It gives us more options to exercise in terms of a style of play going forward. Also, different opposition means different players. Different players means you can compete in more competitions, and that's exactly what Liverpool want. Ban Sadie. Oh, I'm sorry, I can't pronounce that name. I couldn't agree more. Runners in the midfield is vastly overrated. I believe he's pronouncing a gentleman's name. I can't win trophies without technical ability. That's the thing. It's very unlikely you see the best teams of all time or the Champions League winning teams, Premier League winning teams, very technical teams a lot of the time. You do get the systematic winning managers like Conte and Jose Mourinho, and I'd even say Klopp to a degree, who don't look to just play the expansive, beautiful way, but even look at Pep Guardiola. There's a very basic premise to his game, and people seem to very much overcomplicate it. But it's just a case of the way Manchester City move is they have got so many great footballers who have got the right manager to tell them how to play and where to play and what to do when they are in these positions. You've seen the behind-the-scenes footage with Pep Guardiola. It's something we've never got to see with Jurgen, so I can't say. With Pep Guardiola, his man management one-to-one is perfect. And it's why Jack Grealish can play anywhere across the front three and probably do well. It's why Cancelo can play midfield or left-back. I know that he's got a situation there now, but he was still good for a little bit. You know, even Edison's great on the ball. John Stones is playing as an attacker midfielder a lot of the time. So it's about system. Don't forget the importance of system. City are bidding for Guardiola. Shouldn't Liverpool have been prioritising a centre-back as well, given how good and young he is? We have been prioritising a centre-back, in all fairness to Liverpool. The news that came out is that we cannot afford such player. I mean, Guardiola is one of the best young centre-backs in the world, and as I've mentioned time and time again, until someone proves me wrong, we do not scout in that market, my friend. We do not scout in that market. Sharanath says, how does club scouting work? Shouldn't clubs be like Man City, have a laundry list of options to jump in on instead of hatching eggs till deadline day? Yeah, do you know what I mean? I feel like people should look at Manchester City. It's just everyone has their own way and everyone's the next genius, so they're always innovating. I've just read that one out. Shout out to my man Johnny. Cancelo couldn't get in the City team over Rico Lewis at the time. I mean, there was a brief period where Cancelo was actually doing really well for City. You can't dispute it, but yeah, he has massively fell off. I agree 100%. Rico Lewis has done well for City. Again, a testament to their academy, the players that they can produce. Stephen says, it's our only chance to get big money for him. Then by top centre-back and midfielder, you're talking about Salah, aren't you? And bring back Mane. So temporary fix, he would run through the wall for us if he came back. I wouldn't want Mane back. I love Mane, but I wouldn't want Mane back, especially if we were going to sell Salah for only 80 million. I don't think that's enough to even get Guardiola. So whatever world-class centre-back and forward, I don't know. I wouldn't sell Salah myself. I think there's more of a potential damage to the football club if you sell Salah opposed to keeping him. So I'm on the let's keep Salah, even if it's 80 million. If it's 150 million, that's a different story, because now that's a whole extra world-class player that you can buy and improve in the all-round team. But, bruv, I haven't seen you in about 10 years, Danny Slater! My G! I'm not going to lie, Danny, lad, we've got a bunch of new OGs in the chat now, you know. To the new guys who were the regulars in the chat, this is Danny. He's one of the old regulars. He left us. I'm only messing. Rightly so. I never posted for time. Hope you're well, Danny. Say unpopular opinion. We'll have a game of unpopular chat. Get some of your unpopular opinions in the chat, and I'll read some of them out. Naby Keita, when fit, was key for us. He weren't key. I think that's overdoing it. The three seasons he played over 30-plus games, we hit 97 points with the Champions League win, 99 points, and we had a quadruple chase. Injuries ruined him. I'm on to, yeah, but there's about 40-plus games in the season, and the only thing, let me make sure I've read right, the 3 seasons he played over 30-plus games. So the only premise you're saying there is because he made 30-plus appearances is, you know, why these things happened. I don't know. I don't think Naby was integral, but I do think he was massively overhated. I don't think he was as bad as what people said he was. People said he was like a shit footballer. Naby was nowhere near a shit footballer. If you want to go out to him, Henderson and Fabinho, he's the most technical out of all 3 of those players, and yes, including Fabinho. Like, it's not even a question. Not a better Fabinho's way better at some things. Fabinho is way more superior in his position than Naby Keita, but Naby Keita can do some great. He's got a great long shot. The one against Real Madrid was seedy, I know, but I mean, in the main, he's got a great connection with the foot. He just never built that confidence, never quite had the run of games, definitely had something wrong up here. And then injuries got the best of him, but everyone thought he was making excuses with no real premise, so I thought it was harsh on Naby Keita when he left. I wish he got a bit more of a better send-off. I'm glad Jurgen came out at the end. Jack Grealish is overrated. Diaz and Sterling is better. I think Diaz would be too soon, because Grealish has had a great season. Raheem Sterling, however, I believe he has more of a case and a resume to say that he's better than Jack Grealish. Not my preference of player, but Raheem Sterling's one of the greatest wingers that England's ever seen. You know, England, not really a hard bar to set. You know, you think of the best British wingers, you've got Gareth Bale, you've got Ryan Giggs. They're Welsh, so then you can probably give Raheem Sterling at least up there being one of the best English wingers that you've ever seen. And we're talking about wingers, you know, the new type, not the David Beckhams. We're talking about, you know, what has come recently. Raheem Sterling, Mohamed Salah's, those type of wingers. Raheem Sterling is one of just the great guys. In fact, he might even be the best at that type of winger. Until you mention somebody else who should probably be above Rashford. New signing, Patrick Bro, said the reputation of the club helped him decide that Northampton Town was who he wanted to sign for this summer. Why are we talking about Northampton Town? Is he good? I don't know who this player is. If we signed him, then fair play. Fair play. Hopefully he's good. Thiago is one of our best midfielders. It's only he's never fit. I agree. He's only a world-class player in our squad. He's the only world-class player in our squad. I think that's a tough one to dispute. Do you mean established player before joining Liverpool? Because if so, then you're right. If you mean world-class right now, I think that's harsh on all the other players. But you're right. In terms of time of signing Thiago, he was by far the most and only world-class player. And it doesn't help when he has for Henderson and Fabinho. Exactly. Thiago's been in a midfield with underachieving midfielders who are also, or maybe just themselves, on the other side of the hill. Thiago, again, his biggest weakness is his availability. So that's the one thing I'll agree with you all on to. Clues Cookie says, unpopular opinion, we should have never sold Iwoaniyi, the Nottingham Forest striker. I think he's a baller and is a great striker in the making. Well, he had a great time at Union Berlin in the Bundesliga, and then he has gone to Nottingham Forest and done fairly well, I suppose. He scored a couple of goals. Didn't think he was going to be good enough for Liverpool. Shout out to King Khan and Grizz Tekka. But yeah, Iwoaniyi is certainly a shout, and you know what, one that I'm willing to entertain, but I just have not watched enough of him to say definitively, Iwoaniyi, great guy, great striker, could have been the guy for Liverpool. Yeah, I don't know. But you know what? Maybe there's a discussion there in a couple of years' time, because, for instance, you know, if I'm a Newcastle fan and I see Ivan Toney right now, I'm thinking, I'll do a little bit of that, mate, or in their accent, fucking hell, mate, take a little bit of that, like, you know what I mean? So then they'll take Ivan Toney, but the thing is, they let him go. So if Iwoaniyi becomes one of those type of players, then that's interesting. But in the short term, it was never going to work, and he wanted first-team football, so he had to go. Jack said I would sell Salah. I'll be honest, I think he is past his best. Okay, then, even if he's past his best, let's say that's right. Because I agree, I think it's kind of hard to be 31, 32 and be in your best. I think his best season was his first season, and because it was so high, it's kind of just got like worse and worse and worse slightly every season, but it's still so good to the point where it's better than every other winger in terms of numbers. And again, if you can get a thriving team around Salah, those numbers are very beneficial. If you can increase the chances for Salah, case studies suggest that that's a good thing for your team. So, especially a Liverpool team. So, as much as I agree he's past his best, even 70%, 60%, 55% Salah is still scoring 20 goals in the Premier League based on his numbers. 20 goal contributions, because he gets about 40 to 50 goal contributions a season. You half that, so that's why I said 50% Salah. He is getting 20 goal contributions still. That's how good Mo Salah is at finding goals and assists. It's different. I agree. Like, the one thing I will 100% agree with, let's go and get another right winger. Let's go and show some agency. Another right winger who's going to add to the squad depth. But he doesn't have to replace Salah the same way Salah doesn't have to have a certified right winger spot every week. But it creates that beautiful competition, and it creates them different options throughout games, which, whether you like it or you don't, it creates a difference. Rem1122, thank you for the super chat, says, when would you sell Salah then? Next season? He's not finished, but isn't getting any younger, but it's a difficult one. We should try and get Barella. The only reason why I wouldn't sell Salah is only because I am of the presumption that we can keep Mohamed Salah while simultaneously significantly improving the team. If it is very true that we cannot buy players without selling players, then yes, it will be very, very smart to sell Salah. Because even though you miss out on a season or 2 seasons of 30 goals a season, where are you going to buy next summer? Who are you going to buy next summer? How are you going to replace Virgil van Dijk? How are you going to replace Fabinho? There's players to replace. Robertson's one day is going to have to get replaced. More midfielders are going to have to get replaced. More forwards are going to have to get replaced. And the only assets I see that we could sell is maybe Diaz or Jota in terms of a significant asset. Salah is the only other significant asset, but he's so significant to the performance of the team or the end result of the team because of all the goals that he gets. So that's where I sit there and I go, I'm not sure. It's a tough question for me, chat. I'll probably have to sit on it a bit longer. Thiago's not revolutionised our midfield like he was promised. Factendo, Fab and Gini was our best midfield. Don't hear any Thiago in there. I agree. I think that was 100% our best midfield. No doubt, Johnny. That's one thing we've agreed on. Chat, what was a better midfield, that or the Thiago one? I understand why he said this, because I said before the quadruple chasing season was like one of our best midfields. I do think it was up there. 92 points, all 4 competitions. It's close. The case study that we have is when Thiago got a consistent run of games, we got a world-class player. The end of the season, when we was fighting for top 4, I thought Thiago was the best midfielder in them final 10 games, like for us, or best player in those final 10 games in the season where Alisson scored and stuff like that. And then he obviously had the quadruple season. I think both of those seasons were good. He's just never been able to find that consistency and maintain form because of the lack of games. That's my opinion. I've got an unpopular opinion. Luis Suarez is better than any version of Thierry Henry. Unfortunately, Thierry's, he's not even before my time. I watched him as a kid a little bit, but a glimpse. It was as I started watching football. It's not even close. And it's not even close. This statement is not only an unpopular opinion, it's so true that it's not even close. And I don't care if people say Thierry Henry is the best Premier League player of all time. Fair enough if you want to include longevity, goals, achievements, all these things, fair. Because Luis Suarez didn't win any trophies in England. So that's one thing that goes against him being in that conversation. But he did actually have the Premier League record before Mo Salah went and broke it. On top of this, he was literally the best player at all things. He did not need pace because he was so good. Thierry Henry was also so good and could have been good without pace. But without pace, Thierry Henry would have been nowhere near the level of Luis Suarez. If buts maybe, I understand, but I'm just saying, dribbling, passing, free kicks, corners, everything Luis Suarez could do. Tell me one thing he couldn't do. Left foot, right foot, anything. So here's the score. In terms of every single attribute, Luis Suarez is superior to Thierry Henry, except pace. If you want to go on the physical side, that's a different spectrum of attributes. If you want to go on the footballing attributes, there's not one area that Thierry Henry surpasses Luis Suarez. And I will completely accept that could be for the fact that I never watched the gentleman week in, week out, and I watched Suarez week in, week out. But I did see Suarez go ahead and compliment the best front three in the recent 20 to 25 to 30 years. Or second best behind Firmino, Mane and Salah in MSN. Insane front three. And I'd argue Suarez in that 15-16 season was the best player in that front three. He was absolutely insane. Post leaving Liverpool. Sorry, 14-15. Post leaving Liverpool. Unbelievable. 15-16, he was great as well. So unfortunately for the Arsenal fans who will get rattled by what I've just said, maybe some will agree. But that version of Luis Suarez, and I say this about Virgil van Dijk and Vidic, that version of Virgil was a level Vidic could have never been because he never had the level to be it. The same way that Thierry Henry and Luis Suarez shouldn't be a conversation. But guess what? Luis Suarez, in that one season, had a much more superior season than Thierry Henry's best Premier League season. That's just the way it is, and that's all the point that I want to make. And if I'm wrong, I'm happy to listen and have a debate. Apollo says, do you think that Salah is the best player in the world? Please say it like the meme, love from Portugal. I'm not saying it. It's only that's only safe for Sadio. You spent peas though, so I'll say the line, but just not with Salah. Sadio Mane is the best player in the world. You sent money. I had to do it. I don't like being a clown for people's requests, but hey ho, you sent though. I appreciate it. Johnny says Thiago is average. I've seen the Ox have better runs of form, though. Maybe better runs of form based on expectation, but I mean, Thiago is still not average, and how do you define average? Because then that's a different conversation. I disagree. Johnny Haas says if Suarez was with us whilst we had Klopp, we would have won us. He would have won us the stuff we narrowly missed out on. Very possible. Very possible. I agree. I think he would have been that difference. Henry was a massive failure at Juventus. Sold him for 12 million to Arsenal. Just a pace merchant. I'm not going to lie. In comparison to Luis Suarez, he weren't a pace merchant alone, but in comparison to Luis Suarez, I don't know how it's a debate, to be honest. But no, Thierry is the king. In what sense? Like, what was he better at, Luis Suarez, than? And don't just give me longevity because they played in different leagues a lot of the time. Yeah, like, there's just... Even if you want to say their time in La Liga, who had a better time in La Liga? Thierry Henry or Suarez? I'm not going to lie, I think Luis Suarez done the bits, mate. You know what I mean? Chet. James, we need right-sided players. Mo and Harvey Elliott are the only options right now. I understand, Dylan. I've been saying this, but nobody wants to listen. Everyone thinks when I say, let's get one more right winger, they're saying... Or do you think I'm saying, let's replace Mo Salah? Not the case at all. What is a good reason in your eyes next season? What is a good season in your eyes? Get me one trophy in top four. One trophy in top four, and I think we've done well. James, would you sell Virgil van Dijk? Since we have had to sell to buy. He's not being his best, and doesn't look like that he will be again. He's ageing, and could be the right time to cash in. Depends on the offer. If the right offer came in and it was 100 million for Virgil van Dijk and we could profit off Virgil van Dijk when he's clearly dipping, no doubt I'd accept that. There's not even a question in my mind. Would I accept 80 mil? Possibly. Would I accept 70? Possibly. Would I accept 60? That's where I'm starting to struggle. I'm thinking, maybe, because I'll be honest, there's a weird feeling inside that makes me think that Virgil's not going to be the best version of himself again. But if he can even get close to there, like the way he got close in the quadruple chasing season, it's still a very, very good centre-back to have in the squad. So there's a lot of reasons to sell and a lot of reasons to keep. But the reasons to keep are guesses. What we know is that he hasn't been good recently. So if a big offer came in, I'd probably sell him. Josh Moore says, don't know about Thuram. His best position is the left 8, where Mac and Jones are. He's very raw. He doesn't work enough off the ball. Not defensively good enough for the 6. Can't see him as an other 8 either. I have my questions over Thuram as well, to be honest. The more I'm studying the player, I'm starting to become a little bit spectacle, you know, chat. I don't think he is. I've always questioned if he's good enough to win us league titles, but unfortunately, you're in an age where you can't disagree with FSG's decision making. Otherwise, you're negative. Dylan says, we should sell everyone and just sign Manchester City's team. Low-key could work. I think you're onto something, my friend. I think you're onto something. DJ says, what if they just won the Europa League and finished 5th? That's a shit season. It's a shit season. Yeah, no, that's actually a good... It's a good season to a degree. I don't know. Even 4th in a trophy isn't... Nah, that's good. That's good. Based on what I know. You're telling me there's not 4 teams who could potentially finish above Liverpool next year, because that's how you've got to set the expectation. Newcastle could, United could, Chelsea could, City could. Don't dispute that Tottenham could, because apparently they're really profitable now. Don't dispute that Arsenal could. So there's 6 teams that could finish above Liverpool next year. Doesn't mean it will happen, but it just means that it could happen. If it can happen, 5th place might not be that bad. And the Europa League... Would I bite your hands off for it? No, because I'm not that sad. Would I be alright with it at the end, based on my expectation going into the season? It's not too shabby, Alonso, my friend, yeah? Chat, W or L, would you take this? Would you take a fifth in a Europa League? Virgil's level was more pronounced because he didn't have a capable partner. Vidic Rio and still looked devastating. No, I don't think it really was that, because Joel Matip was absolutely phenomenal at the top of his game, and I actually think Matip surpassed Virgil in terms of performance. Where Virgil looked superior was next to Joe Gomez, but next to Matip, I thought Matip was great at certain things. Kind of like Diaz and Stones. They were both just great at different things, and they complemented each other so well. So as much as I appreciate the Vidic and Rio comparison, I think you can get something very similar, just not on a as legendary level, but in Matip and Virg. I do think it's very similar. Both great players. Matip surpassed Virgil van Dijk in our UCL season, easy. I also think in the quadruple chasing season, chat, is this a W or an L? But you know when Matip really started making those giraffe runs, and he was consistently putting in top-class performances, and he was scoring loads of goals from set pieces like headers and stuff like that, in my opinion, I thought Matip... Anytime Matip played next to Virgil, I thought that Matip was better than Virgil. At least 70% of the time that I saw them play next to each other. I'm not saying Matip is better than Virgil, but based off that premise, you've got to say something. And a lot of people would agree at the time, like, Matip was better than Virgil today. They were both really good, but Matip was better. Matip was more influential. Matip had more of an impact on the game than Virgil. He made more tackles than Virgil. And it could just be because people shit themselves with Virgil, so they attack Matip more. You know, you got to remember, Matip is on Trent Alexander-Arnold's side, so he has more to do as well. And there's certain things that Matip just cannot do that Virg can. But it's a lot closer than what people say. Matip is one of the most underrated centre-backs, not only right now, but of Premier League history. Like, Matip boss, the only reason why he doesn't get talked about is injuries and the fact that he hasn't been in a winning Liverpool team consistently. The only difference between him being talked about in a similar level to John Stones is a few more games and a few more trophies. That's how good Joel Matip is. Johnny says, can we get this out? I want the owners that can compete with City or anyone, but I'm grateful our current owners do not treat us out. Tottenham United are run. I don't care if other clubs have ran terribly. I'm not going to sit there and say, oh, that's great because they're ran terribly and you're running us better than them, because you're setting the bar as the bare minimum standard. Anyone can be good if the bar is at the bare minimum standard. I'm not comparing us to the bare minimum standard. I wouldn't congratulate you, Johnny, on getting an E in your GCSE test, even though F is the bottom one. I would not congratulate you on getting an E because I believe that you're capable of achieving a C or a B. So if Tottenham, the stupid kid in the corner, is getting a D+, let's say, just because he got a D+, I am going to set higher standards for you because I believe you're more intelligent than him. Therefore, I'm going to set you the target of a B or a C. And if you don't get that, it's not great because I believe you could have achieved it. I'm not going to sit there and say, congratulations, you never got a B or a C, but you did get higher than X kid over here. Like, does that... And that should make sense, Johnny. I tried to explain that the best way I could, and I believe that's somewhat... made sense. Before his injury, he was arguably our best player. Who's this, Virgil or Matip? Matip, I don't know who you're talking about. There could have been anyone. If you're on about Salah, before AFCON, Salah was our best player, not even close. Would you want the Glazers to buy us? No. Nope. They're just the same. They agreed to the Super League. They've done shit to run over United fans. All the reasons I don't like FSG. The transfers being one of the minimum reasons. I think that's something that people don't know about me. I don't care as much about the transfers. I just care about all the stuff that they've done in the past that's insincere. And Glazers very much fall into that category. And that's why I wouldn't take them, because even though they've heavily invested, heavy investment isn't the only thing that I want. I want Liverpool Football Club to be benefited to the best it possibly can by not having greedy owners. Trent in midfield today for England proves my year-long point. He is a midfield through and through. Reddit thrashed me after the Champions League final. Jeez, Mike has proved his point after the game against Malta, you know. Jeez, Trent dropped a 10 out of 10 against Malta, and Mike was right all along. Guys, give him the respect. James is really good at explaining things. You understand me though, Festus? If we get the Champions League football and win Europa, would you consider that a successful season? Yeah. 100%. A European trophy. If we finish 7th and got a Europa League, it's concerning that we got 7th, but in the heritage of Liverpool, a season that involves a European trophy is a very, very good season. It just kind of becomes tradition. Matip could be our John Stones in the DM. He'd be quality. Chat, would you ever entertain Matip playing centre defensive midfielder? I don't think Klopp would exercise it or think about exercising it. But if he did, could it work? That's what I'd like to know. If he was fit and stuff like that, why not? Great on the ball. I think he's better on the ball than Fabinho. So why not? What about the training ground, stadium expansions, and all the debt they've cleared, Johnny? We're not talking about FSG again. They've bought it. No, Johnny, that's a completely different conversation. I'm just responding to you saying, because your original question was, okay, because they are better than Daniel Levy and Glazers, we should be proud. But then I'm going back to the reference of, okay, but if you can get a C, and why am I going to congratulate you for an A? I don't need to repeat it again, Johnny. I love you, sir. I do. I love you. But I just let's not go back into the FSG talk. We'll save that for the proper debate, yeah? It's like, Johnny, keep going. You just want to see me pissed off. F you, chat. Winning the Europa League, yeah, put into the Champions League. Yeah, I know. But the higher you finish in the league, the more confident you can sit there and say, well, maybe we can get from 3rd to 1st or whatever. It's hard to get from 7th to 1st, even if you win a Europa League. Who should be our deeper midfielder with Mac and Trent starting in front? Jeez, are you just saying Trent 100% starting up front? I don't think that's going to happen because we're not buying a right back, sir. Unless you trust Conor Bradley, then I don't know, mate. I think it could work. He's very progressive with the ball, loves to thread the ball around and makes them forward runs like that goal against Leeds. Says Mark Simon says Klopp looks like he wants heavy metal football back again after signal footy of last season. Shirineth says, unpopular opinion, Trent is a luxury merchant. He's incapable in moments. He's impeccable in moments, but doesn't put the hard yards week in, week out. But you could say that about any Liverpool player last year. Do you want to sell every Liverpool player? Wait there, what was the actual thing? Is a luxury merchant. Is it bad to be a luxury merchant if you're at least good most of the time? So even if that's right, it's not a bad thing. James, what are your thoughts of using Fabinho as a centre-back? Not being the best at CDM, so we need more legs. Are we just saying switch Matip and Fabinho then, chat? I don't know if it makes a difference. I think Fabinho's just looked bad because he's being bad. I don't think it's the position. A pass is a pass. A pass is a pass. Simple, lad. But an E is not a pass. An E is not a pass. A C is a pass. An E is not a pass. If the kid got an the bare minimum's F. That kid over there got an E. If you got a D, that's not a pass. It never used to be in my school days. It might be now for you. I'm not sure. But that's not a pass. The same way us finishing in Europa League is not a pass. It's failure. If it's a pass, then that just shows the standards is the bare minimum, which isn't good. Mike says Liverpool match-going fans are old, stubborn scousers who are incapable of believing Liverpool can be Real Madrid. Until they leave, we are cap-cut. Liverpool match-going fans are old, stubborn scousers. Actually, not true. The majority of the fans who go to the stadium now are from Liverpool. I'm not saying I have a problem or I don't have a problem. I'm just saying that's the fact. There's actually more fans who come from not only across the country, but across the world who certainly outnumber the amount of scousers who... Do you know how many scousers go to the games nowadays? Like, there's not many people, like, since COVID, there's not many scousers who are going to games, so I'm sorry, Mike, but this is, it's actually inaccurate, like, genuinely, factually inaccurate. James, would you take Mane back? Not even for a second. And I like Mane, but not even for a second. James, I don't know chances they'll sell to us, but they did to Arsenal last season. Would you go for Walker as our right back? Works fine with Trent's new role. If he was available, there's no doubt I'm taking Kyle Walker for a year defensive option, but it won't happen. But yes, for a year, not a doubt. James, what you make of your colleagues on the COP TV spreading news from the most unreliable sources lately? They have their own style of posting videos, and I have had my own style of posting videos. I would also defend the COP TV by saying they are not journalists. They report journalists' news. So they're not reporting their news, they're reporting journalist news. Therefore, what you've said is what they've done, which is spread said news, but it's not. They have never signed up for the job of determining what is legit news and what isn't legit news. They have signed up to the world of speaking about news, which is what it is. The media complements football and YouTubers like myself because it gives us things to talk about. Football fans speak about hypotheticals or what would happen if Messi and Ronaldo played together. Nobody has the attitude that you're having right now when I put in a title or what would happen if Messi and Ronaldo, or if I said Messi and Ronaldo at Barcelona, just in a title, but it was a hypothetical thing. Is it a bad thing because I'm spreading something that doesn't exist? Or am I just speaking in a hypothetical? The same way that when we were linked with Mbappe, it weren't hypothetically bad to speak about how good would we be with Mbappe. So just to defend my friends at the COP TV, they don't claim to be journalists, so I wouldn't hold them to the regard of a journalist, me personally. Would love to see a Trent Alexander-Arnold in midfield and Joe Gomez right back. Think he's done a decent job for us in the past. Or Fabinho right back. We bought him from Monaco as a right back. But again, Fabinho as a player isn't the same player that he was at Monaco. That's where I would say. That's where I would say that's a bit wrong. Just because it's like Gerrard is a great midfielder, can't still play midfielder no more. You know what I mean? And just because Fabinho could play right back doesn't mean I'd put him at right back. But I get the logic. One of the wettest, soft, weakest-minded managers in world football. Has no standards, can't seem to get rid of players that are past their best, and always bases everything on emotion. Klopp out. I actually agree with the last part. I do think Klopp is a little bit too emotional. I think it goes for him, but in more cases goes against. So I do agree there. Weakest, I disagree. I don't think he's the weakest manager of all time. Has no standards. I think somebody who came in and won every trophy from a club that won none in recent years is certainly a manager with standards, but maybe I'm wrong. Can't seem to get rid of players. You're blaming the wrong guy. It's not his job to get rid of players. It's the owner's job to get rid of players because they're in control of the finances, and Jurgen Klopp isn't the one sitting there saying, right, let's sell James Milner or let's sell whoever for this amount of money, because it's not his job. There's a reason why we've got board of directors. So I disagree with every last single thing you said there, bar the last part. I do think he actually can be excessively emotional, more so than what he needs to be. James Mbappe to Liverpool is only going to be happening in your FIFA career mode, mate. I know, Johnny. Because of your owners, that's why we're never going to get Mbappe. Fabinho is a right back. We need fullbacks to run up and down. I don't see him doing that one bit. Yeah, stylistically, it's a horrible fullback. Even if he could do it well defensively, it's a horrible choice to go with. Ox would have made a great right back. Could have been like RJ. No, not even close. Nowhere near the strength of RJ. Nowhere near the crossing ability. I mean, listen, he was a great shooter, and that's as far as I'll go to say about Oxlade-Chamberlain. His dribbling was good. It weren't elite. His defending was okay. It was nowhere near good. It was just okay. It weren't world class. Plus, he was still an established Premier League player. He was 25, 26 when he joined Liverpool. Maybe he was 24 at youngest, but he'd been playing right wing back for Arsenal, and he joins us in the purpose of wanting to play midfield, and that was something Klopp wanted him to do. So I don't think he would have been a class right back, and we would have never seen Trent if we did give him that option. Weak-minded, wet as soft, but then Klopp plays the most physically draining tactics in terms of heavy metal. It doesn't quite add up. I tried to answer it nicer, but I think you've put it better than me. Mike says Trent should be in midfield and we should be in a back three. We already do that, though. Trent is good at defending in midfield. Even in transition, he has the legs and needs the freedom. We already do this. It's just Trent plays out wide. He's like a wing back. He's a right midfielder type idea, and he tracks back with the team. And because we play that back three where Fabinho will drop in, or Robertson will then move inside, and Kanate then goes and fills the right-hand side. Like, you need to realise, like, we already do kind of play a back three. Trent is up the field the majority of the time. The reason why we're bad defensively is because Trent gets caught out in singular moments. In history, the best of the best left-backs have been repeatedly caught out in singular moments. Trent's job is not to be a defensive player, even though he falls under the category of positions of a defender. He simply is the guy who is there to attack in our system. But he will start on the original sheet as a right-back. But throughout the game, he will transition into a right midfielder while we play the back three. The reason why it's not good is because we get overrun in the attack. We get beaten in the attack, overrun in the midfield, and then caught in behind with the defence. Because Virgil hasn't been as defensively aware. Kanate is still learning as the game goes by. Fabinho has got significantly slower. Henderson is nowhere near as good. And even at his peak, you could still suggest other players to have started over him. So I only raise that because I think it's a bit unfair to whatever the original point was. It's gone on my mind. I always do that. I'll talk for ages and then I forget. Would you take McAllister plus another midfielder? We've already got McAllister. Another midfielder? Of course I'll take another midfielder. What do you mean? It is his job to get rid of his players. All managers get rid of players. Have you not seen the press conferences where he said, in this generation, everybody says players are finished? I don't. He said... First and foremost, where's the proof that that you've got the evidence to support that Klopp has control over keeping players? Because, I said it to Johnny yesterday. If you go and type in James Milner interview about Klopp, it says that Klopp wanted to keep James Milner, but he couldn't. I'm just saying that's wrong. If that's one case, that's wrong. How many more could be wrong? I don't get why people can't get that point. So therefore, I've already disputed your first point. Me. In this generation, everybody says players are finished. I don't. Again, context matters. Who's he talking about? What player is he talking about? Did somebody say X is finished? And then Jurgen Klopp says, well, guess what? You might think he's finished. I don't. Doesn't mean he thinks that Steven Gerrard could still play in the heart of midfield, does it? It's a bit extreme. And that's coming from someone who can be extreme. Who hired Klopp? FSG. Like I said, FSG have done good things. And I think if they decided to be a bit more ballsy, then we could have won a lot more. Here to there says the biggest issue you have with Trent inverting is Salah offers nothing defensively, which is essential for wingers on the inverted side. I say this often, but no one really wants to listen to it. Defensively, we've been horrible collectively. Van Dijk's been horrible. Kanate's been horrible. The midfield has been non-existent offensively. And people seem to think it's just when it gets to the back four, that's all that worries. That's like saying every time it's a one-on-one, the goalkeeper should save it. People don't understand football if you don't understand that. Defending is a team game. Chat W or an L. Am I just rambling? Am I just putting words together to try and make it make sense? Or do you guys see that as well? It's good to gauge who I'm talking to. Because if you believe that you can just play good football without any systematic structure defensively, I'm sorry, you're going to concede a lot of goals. And you're going to become a football team like Manchester United, who, yes, you can buy the biggest names. But before Ten Hag, they had no defensive structure. Hence why they would concede goals and have to rely on their quality. No way you are winning league titles. Stop waffling. Why have I waffled? Who was winning a scrap, Costa or Suarez? I don't know. I've never seen any of them perform in martial arts. It's a tough one just based on appearance. Gabri Veiga deal depends on the sale of Carvalho. Veiga will probably offer more. John, what's the source? Because I don't think we're selling Carvalho. What about it being... what about right being... Bally's mean risking putting yourself in debt, banking on winning a treble, spending money you don't have could possibly be a huge problem. Look at Everton, lads. So what you're saying there is let's stay at this level constantly. Because if we take a jump or if we try and improve, we could end up being shit. So, James, don't post more videos because you could be at the risk of saying something wrong, which means you could get cancelled, which means you can't post no more videos. So you're saying don't post no more videos because if you do, it could get to a point where you might not be able to post no more videos. The same way that you're saying that FSG, don't spend more money because you could become Everton. The same way that if you don't spend money, you will probably end up becoming Everton anyway. Or close, or you'll stick to being a Europa League team. Again, don't set the bar or standards too low. That's where I sit there and completely override that logic. I can't agree with that logic. It's a sentiment that I don't recognise. I don't relate to it. It's tough for me to want to be Spurs, who haven't won a trophy in years. It's very tough for me to want to be a Manchester United, who their most significant trophy in 10 years is a Europa League. It's very tough for me to want that. Very tough. If I'm wrong for that, I apologise. But unfortunately, I'm 100% unapologetically myself. Therefore, I retract my apology. I don't think it's a bad thing that a Liverpool fan like me. Regardless where I was born, I don't think I have any more credit because I was born in Liverpool. I'll make the wool jokes and stuff like that, but I don't care. But I do care about the crest. I do care about the city. I do care about the club. Being a Europa League team isn't the best thing for it, is it? No, you find new formulas to expand and grow, but within your boundaries. And all I want to make a point of is that when the time comes, I'm sure we'll part with FSG and smiles are on faces, mate. Never disagreed with that. They can go and we can smile and say, well done for doing this right. Now let's move on and get on to the next chapter. That's something that I would like to see accelerated. I would love it if that could happen tomorrow. It's probably not going to happen tomorrow. Therefore, I'm still going to defend the players. I'll still defend the manager. I'm still going to invest into the football club by buying tickets and going to games. So I'm not being a fan who's completely riding out FSG. But when I invest into the football club, I would like to see that investment returned with good, consistent football, good, competitive football. Not 2 out of the 3 last seasons being underperforming seasons because you decided not to spend enough on players, because you didn't want to take the risk to win the league, because you were too scared of becoming Everton. That's a very tough one for me to accept, guys. I'm sorry. Call me weak, call me spineless, call me unrealistic. Very tough one for me to accept, especially when I've seen non-country owned clubs like Arsenal spend good money, non-country owned clubs like Tottenham spend good money. There's a lot of issues with me and FSG right now, and, you know, maybe we can't get new owners in the short term. Doesn't mean that we can't still amplify the pressure for them to start searching for other people. James, what are you on about? He had the power to get rid of Milner, but he can't seem to get rid of players. But how do you know he had the power to get rid of Milner if he didn't have the power to keep Milner? If he didn't have the power to keep Milner, it means he doesn't have 100% authority. If he doesn't have 100% authority, you're just guessing. And I am guessing, but I'm not guessing when I say he hasn't got 100% authority. Otherwise, he would have got to have kept James Milner. Simple. Even Coutinho and Mane wanted to leave on their own. Very true. Very, very true. What does that make of it? They wanted to go. They wanted to go. The club wanted to keep them. As much hate as Glazers get, if they had Klopp, they'd have been more successful. Unless people would want them out. No, but that's the thing. Klopp was available to FSG, or could have been at any point, and they never got him. And you know, Klopp didn't want Manchester United. It's not his type of club, but that's not a Glazer problem. They have got bad appointments, so I don't feel sorry for them because they never appointed Jurgen Klopp or appointed bad managers over the years. That's a them problem. That's not a me problem, and I don't want more owners, like in my opinion, like the ones we've currently got, who are bad decision makers. I don't think it makes sense. FSG will probably underspend again this summer. As if we finish 5th, we still will probably qualify for Champions League because of that new rule where historic clubs in UCL qualify. That can't be a new rule. If that's a new rule, that's bullshit. If you're just a historic club, so you qualify, I don't like that rule. Really, really don't like it. Thiago is our owners. Act like we have no money and we are top 4 most valuable clubs in the world and have a bunch of money these last few years. That's where I struggle. You know, FSG say we haven't got the money to spend. We have to be sell to buy. I disagree with that sentiment. But then, you know, some people take them for the word's value. Chelsea are owned by a bank. Todd Bowley is only the face of the consortium. What about Arsenal? You've disputed one of them. It might be a bank. It doesn't matter. What about Arsenal? What's their situation? What's their excuse? Do you not get my point? The club has the power to get rid of players, obviously. Exactly, the club, not just Jurgen. Your original point was that Jurgen had all the power to get rid of the players. I was saying the club are the ones who finalised that decision, quite clearly evident on previous case studies. So the club has the power to get rid of the players there, we agree. And that power overrides the player of the manager. And that power overrides the power of the manager. I agree. That's what I said before. But Klopp also has the power to get rid of players. Nothing new, for fuck's sake. How do you know he's got the power to override? Because clearly he didn't want to bring in Mo Salah. They still brought in Mo Salah. He wanted to keep James Milner. Then they did not keep James Milner. I just don't understand why you're saying that Klopp has 100% authority to get rid of players. Unless you've got evidence. If you can send me evidence, clip, news article, something, besides your own word and opinion. Because at least when I say that he doesn't have 100% authority, I can give you clips that you can go and watch yourself. You can type it in on YouTube, where it suggests Jurgen Klopp doesn't. I don't know why I need to repeat that 100 million times without you guys understanding. I understand what you're saying. You're saying, okay, if Jurgen really wanted a player gone, if he went to the owners and said, I want Robertson to leave tomorrow, the owners would probably look at that and say, okay, there's a really big problem to why Jurgen wants Robbo to go tomorrow. Like, we're going to get on that because we don't think this disruption is going to be good. But if Jurgen came tomorrow and said, I want to sell Salah for 80 million, make it happen, FSG could sit there and go, Well, actually, Salah makes the most shirt sales for us. He's the #1 Muslim athlete in the world. And we're not going to be able to replace him for an adequate price. Therefore, we're going to override your decision and not sell the player. Why is that so hard to comprehend? Clearly, Jurgen Klopp doesn't have control. So when you blame Jurgen Klopp for the control of the ins and the outs of the players, why don't you blame the people, the board of directors and the owners who have the 100% control over those things? The final say, which Jurgen Klopp doesn't have. It's mad, the way I can debate like 10 of yous at once as well. FSG don't want titles, they just want cash flow. I agree with this. They do not want to win. 3 state-owned teams now. Anything less than 100 million a summer leaves you never winning. That's why I'm FSG out. It's not even 100 million a summer. It's true. You need more money and more resources, but it's precise signings. And besides the summer where we sold Coutinho, we've never really been that good at appointments, like in a general sense. Based on what Johnny's saying, the window 2 seasons ago was terrible, or 3 seasons ago when we got Thiago and Jota. Jota was okay, and has been okay. According to Johnny, Thiago's been terrible, therefore that's a terrible transfer window. Last summer, we got Calvin Ramsey, Darwin Núñez. I can't think of any other significant signings last summer. Maybe there's a couple. Not great signings. Not a great window. Lad, Arsenal owner, he owns some 60 million square feet real estate. John Henry can't compete with that. But that's a John Henry problem. That's an FSG problem, which is exactly what I've been saying to you. If we're inferior to the top 6 teams, then we need to get resources that are more, on their level. Realistically, how long do we have to wait for FSG to get lost until we get fans like Johnny to see the light? But it does not happen. We have proven that, lads. You don't have to spend money every year to compete. I know we've proven that, but we haven't proven it 2 of the last 3 years. Therefore, what has been proven is that the model we had can win a Premier League, but it's not sustainable. If it's not sustainable, then that's not good. Because then if you're not sustainable, then you become another Blackburn or another Leicester. I don't want to be another Blackburn or another Leicester just because they done well and just because they done it the right way and just because their owners couldn't financially compete. I still want to surpass and higher the standards. That'd be great for me. Mike says the windows are terrible because FSG don't want to win. I'm sweating. Sheikh Mansour wants to win, so the club is run to win. That's why they make the best signings regardless of cash. That's simple. Exactly. And City don't spend 100 million in each position. Yes, there's anomalies like Jack Grealish and stuff. But a lot of their players are similar to us. 40 to 50 to 60 million pound players. The difference is the significant increase in wages that they can offer and all the money and bonuses that they can offer. I get that. So I'm not trying to make City sound all perfect, but I'm just saying there's good talent out there for good prices. You just need to identify the right one. Real Madrid now have 7 midfielders who can slot in the starting 11. But we're not them. We're not them. We haven't got the resources of them because, fans are happy with us being Tottenham. We need to show more ambition. We were getting Champions League finals and winning leagues. We went and bought Minamino, for fuck's sake. City, for example, went and bought Diaz and Rodri without winning a Champions League. It took them a while to get that Champions League, and I think that the Minamino thing was harsh. He won us a League Cup. I'll always forgive for me. I weren't a fan of Minamino before that League Cup, but since that League Cup, I've got actually a very special place in my heart for Minamino. I think it's harsh. Okay, well, John Henry could compete with that Arsenal owner if he sold us. If he sold us, he will be making billions in profit. He can buy all the real estate he wants. He literally has a club that's worth billions, and you're saying he doesn't have money. This is the hypocrisy that I say about FSG inners. Oh, they cannot spend a couple 100 million or something, even though they have a club that's worth that much. I understand that just because they've got a $4.5 billion club doesn't mean that they've got $4.5 billion in the bank. But yeah, best believe this is just a profit cash flow system like another gentleman mentioned before. If we get top 4, then they're the standards. If we keep the club and just continue getting top 4, we can increase it by a couple of, maybe 1 extra billion. And, to make 1 extra billion in the space of 3 years is great for FSG. For Liverpool, it's 3 years without a Champions League and a Premier League. I don't care about FSG's business as much as I respect that they have to run their business efficiently. I care about Liverpool's business, and Liverpool's business, based on Shankly and Paisley, if we're going to hold their opinions in high regard, is winning trophies. If FSG's business does not align with Liverpool's business, that sounds like a relationship that is not sustainable. I know I use big words, and I know that I speak quite quick. I don't know how that doesn't make sense, what I've just said, though. I don't know how it does not make sense or correlate with any of you. Chat, is that a W or an L, or did it go over your head again? because it seems to go over a lot of people's heads in this chat. How can you bash buying Minamino when it's a signing like that? They haven't got Liverpool where they are now. Salah and Mane weren't 100 million players when signed. It just didn't work out for Minamino. I agree. Yeah, Minamino weren't a big loss. He was literally 7.5 million, and he won us a League Cup. James, I'm a United fan. I think you're brilliant, and you're right. FSG are shit, and it's all Klopp. Oh, it's all Klopp in terms of the winning. I agree. I don't think it's all Klopp. I think there's been selected, because again, Klopp doesn't make the transfers, so you can't say it's all Klopp the same way you can't say it's all FSG, but it's mostly FSG. When it's a situation like this and there's a lack of investment, you have to sit there and say successive windows. The only thing that is underachieved in terms of targets is FSG, because their ambition is the club to be doing well. 2 of the last 3 seasons we haven't done that. The board of directors' job, Schumacher or whoever it is to sort out the best deals with the best price. It's FSG's job to allocate the funds. Therefore, if we don't overachieve, or say if we underachieve in a window, that's FSG's and the board of directors' fault, not Klopp's. Got to say that first and foremost. It's not Klopp's fault. But, if Jurgen Klopp can still maximise a player like Salah, Mane and all these players, then that's Klopp doing more than his job. So the point that I'm making there is like both of them aren't 100% to blame, the same way that you can't just give Klopp all the credit. But you can give Klopp the majority of the credit and FSG the majority of the blame based on the reasons that I've just said there. That's a no, mate, or do you still have a noisy neighbours issue? Do you know what, lads? I'm not tonight. I haven't had the noisy neighbours issue. They're having a barbecue, actually, so they're being noisy in a different way, but it's not the ways in which we were discussing yesterday. We need a proper sporting director. We need to sort out another Michael Edwards. We need someone who wants to win at the helm of signings. Well, then you need to trust FSG to make good decisions, because apparently consistently they can't do it. They can do it once with Michael Edwards, they can do it once with Jurgen Klopp, but they can't do it consistently. That's what case studies suggest. Buying Minamino wasn't the worst. Just getting him, not Haaland, was the mistake. Yeah, I agree. It's hard to word it due to only being allowed to type a certain amount, but I'm saying all the great teams bring in top players to challenge the top players, and we never did. That's why we've dropped. Mikey, you bang on. You bang on, sir. I agree. Francie says, you don't need Haaland. You have enough attacking depth. You need a midfield, and I'd argue a better right back so that you can allow Trent to play in the centre of the park. This is a great point. This is a great point. The same way why Trent weren't the only problem with our defensive issues is the same way that this point remains very, very true, is that attacking is not our issue. Not getting Haaland was never our issue. We've got Salah. Salah, even though he might have not got the goals of Haaland this year, still, like, he's Mohamed Salah. He still gets big goals. You keep misconstruing my point. I didn't say he's 100% in control. In the first comments, you said that Klopp is in control. Fair enough, you never said he's 100% in control, but you were angry at Jurgen Klopp, and you said that Klopp was in control. If you're angry at Jurgen Klopp and you're saying he's in control, you're suggesting he has majority of control. I was disputing the point that he did not have majority control. What interest do owners have in keeping Henderson and Fabinho? And every point you made is about Klopp's inability to keep players. Maybe they keep Henderson and Fabinho because if they didn't keep Henderson and Fabinho, they would have to sell Henderson and Fabinho. They would not get much money for Henderson and Fabinho. So even though Klopp might want to keep said players, even if Klopp wanted to sell said players, you're not getting much money for said individuals. And I've just said before, Klopp isn't perfect. But Klopp can't have the majority of the blame, is the point that I'm making. So before you keep getting frustrated, not me, you. I'm listening to you, but I just don't think you're listening to me. I love it how owners that have literally won everything gets slated. People forget about old owners that won naff. Again, you're just using the bar as the lowest standard. Owners who won nothing, that's the standard. So because this owner has won one more trophy than that owner, we should give him the praise. I'm actually surprised at how many FSG are good at what they do, man. Like, the fact they've actually got fans who think this way. The Minamino chat needs to finish. Chat, I'm not really up for talking about Minamino. It's not that important of a conversation. Please talk about Klopp wanting to sign left back from Japan. Fuck you, fam. Yeah, Aaron, you little mush. You little mush. I had you there, son. FSG are Klopp. And Klopp is a team. Klopp choose to stay based on FSG transfer policy. It's both that should get credit. And when we win, and both face the heat. This is the most fair comment out of everybody. I think sometimes I can go a bit far one way, but I see FSG in us and they go too far the other way. They say it's fine because we're not Tottenham, fine because we're not Wrexham. That's what they say. I'm trying, but then I sit there and say, like, I believe we should be competing year in, year out, and I don't think we've done enough to do such thing. I don't know. I think that the owner should always get more blame than Jurgen Klopp. Jurgen Klopp is there to maximise the resources of the owners. He's not there to adhere to what we want to do. It's what the owners want. They're his employees. We don't pay his wages. If they say get top 4, he's going to sit there on a custy wage at a club that he loves with a fan base that he loves and take that wage and get top 4. The same way he's done every season, bar last year. Jurgen Klopp just can't get the majority of the blame for me until people... If someone wants to have a debate on stream and say Jurgen Klopp's done this and he's done this and he's done this, then fine, let's discuss it through. But Jurgen Klopp's been a world-class manager for the best part of 15 years. FSG have been maybe a good ownership in the spell of what? 3 or 4? 3 or 4? Because they weren't good for the first 10 and then they haven't been good for the last 2. Or 2 out of the last 3. So what, 3 or 4 years of good ownership? I think I'm going to take one of the best managers in the world instead. I'll be honest. I think Arsenal are going to win the title next season. They remind me of 13-14 Liverpool, except they are not losing anyone. And we'll go and Declan... Yeah, the fact they're keeping all their players together is going to be a big, big factor in helping them get a trophy. Not even a question. Where is your bar, James? Football is a competition. Do you think we should win everything? We've won so much. No, I don't think we should win everything, but I don't think we should go multiple years without winning anything. The same way that 2 of the last 3 years we've won nothing. Yes, we won 2 trophies in the season before. Yes, we've been more consistent, I suppose, in terms of winning trophies, but it needs to be maintained. And I don't think there should be 2 out of the last 3 seasons where we haven't competed for the league title. No, I don't. Especially for a team who's got the second most league titles in the country. And I don't think it's a bad thing that I would like to see us get to that point. And it's certainly not a bad thing that I believe FSG aren't capable of getting us to that point. Because quite clearly, from what it sounds, they are happy with being better than Tottenham and Arsenal. So me wanting the best, it's not that we have to. If we had owners who compete every year, that's different. But you've got to want to compete. It's not actually about the achievement. It's about the ambition. It's about showing that tenacity. If you don't show the tenacity... Guess what? You are 100% guaranteed to fail if you don't try. 100% guaranteed to fail. But if you try, you at least give yourself a chance. It's been said in many motivational films that's made you sick before. James, we should aim for top 4 every year, and so long we achieve that, we have done well. But we need to be pushing for the league. I agree. With these owners, we should only be looking for top 4, because if you set anything higher, you're overrating these owners to fuck. So, Johnny, we actually agree on this. Yes, with these owners, we should only set the bar for top 4. No doubt. Let's start on the same page. These owners are a disgrace, and I'm always FSG out. But yeah, but you're acting like Klopp's hands are completely tied. He still has lots of control. Klopp out. Fans are also FSG out. Klopp out fans are also FSG out fans. Fair dues. Fair dues. Okay, maybe that's where I've misunderstood your point. So you agree that they're a disgrace. I agree on that one as well. Klopp's hands are completely tied. I never said they were completely tied. That's what I don't appreciate. Like, that's where maybe you've misunderstood me. I said he doesn't have 100% control. So now we agree that he hasn't got 100% control. Fine, we've got past that point. He still has a lot of control. Okay. But then what examples are you upset about that you can suggest Klopp had more control on this instance than FSG? So maybe, do you know what? Actually, this is a different conversation. If you're upset with Klopp as well as FSG, then that's a different conversation. You've got to then... Okay, I now want to ask you the question, if it's Klopp out, who's the replacement? Who's the better manager? And then with these owners who won nothing before Klopp came in, can the next manager come in and win what Klopp did? That's what I ask. That's simply all I ask. So now I understand your point. Now you're saying Klopp out. Basically, that's the premise of your message. Forget FSG, you agree with me there. But on the Klopp thing, you're Klopp out all the way. Why? And who should we replace him? And can we get better if Klopp goes? With these owners? This is where it's time to get realistic. City are about to sign Guardiola and Kovacic, 2 established big stage players. Meanwhile, FSG fans are happy buying McAllister and Thuram and some and 5 mil youth player from a championship team. This is it, though. This is it. These are the standards. These are the standards. I'm trying to amplify James' point to everyone here. Top 4 over 10 seasons ago keeps FSG profitable. They don't want to risk investing big and losing it all. Thank you. That's actually a much better way of simplifying my point. Yeah, like 10... Okay, if that was the goal 10 seasons ago, why is the goal the same now? Top 4 was the goal 10 seasons ago. Why is it still the same goal now? They haven't really advanced, and if they're not growing, then they're not really productive or efficient owners. And if you're Liverpool and you cared about your football club, wouldn't you want your club to have productive and efficient owners? I'd expect that to be the bare minimum. Now it's outside of winning trophies. Now it's outside the fact they tried to do the Super League. Let's just talk about productivity as one factor of an ownership. And if they're still fighting for the same goal now than what they was 10 years ago, and because they got one right appointment out of 5 or 6, now they've won a couple of trophies and it's fine. It's got them enough credit in the bank to where they don't need to improve. Then, wow, let me become the owner of Liverpool. I didn't know it was that easy. Chat, let's get the super chats together. It's that easy. I didn't realise it was that easy. I know I'm not right all the time, but I'm actually trying to explore why I'm wrong. And I can come across like a bit of a cocky dickhead when I'm just laughing at your points, but it's ludicrous that these are some of the answers that he's come out with. It's mad. Because it's not everyone. I like to read the ones that I disagree with. I don't see any productivity in me reading ones I agree with all the time. But wow, like, these are just mad points, James. Why do you not think we are looking at Kovacic? Seems like a signing that will go under the radar till he shines for them. I don't know. I'd love to get Kovacic, though. It'd be a really, really cool signing that I think would benefit the team. That kind of Thiago type player, but he is also injury prone, so... Also, he'd want big wages. Again, he's not an FSG type player. We should have transitioned Bobby into midfield, in my opinion. His passing, dribbling, and defensive work is boss. Maybe. But I don't know. I'm happy Firmino went. And the fact that we have to do things like, let's make Fabinho a right back. Let's make Matip a CDM. Let's make Firmino a centre mid. Let's make Trent a midfield. Like, the fact we have to do these things. No one said Trent should play in midfield when he was playing right back in a team that was systematically good at defending. No one. But the second we stopped investing is when we started to drop and Trent started to get caught out more because the team weren't as good. Therefore, now we need Trent to play here and him to play there and him to play there. It's an owner issue. James, Ricky Lambert or Super Mario? Ricky Lambert. For Liverpool, Ricky Lambert. Not even a question. Overall, Mario Balotelli knows out. John Flanagan or Nathaniel Klein? I think 13-14, Flanagan deserves a shout. But as a player, Nathaniel Klein. Nathaniel Klein was a very good right back for us. Benteke or Sturridge? Sturridge, not even close. Simeone or Mourinho should be his replacement. Serial winners. Also, if Klopp is sacked and FSG are still owners, I'd still be upset, and I prefer FSG leave over Klopp, and the Sheiks would sack Klopp. They wouldn't sack Klopp. The reason why they wouldn't sack Klopp is because they would give Klopp a chance to win with Liverpool with investment. So I doubt they'd sack Klopp. On the Simeone and Mourinho point, what Simeone achieved in recent time with inflator funds, because Atletico Madrid spend more money than Liverpool, so what have they achieved with inflated resources and a stronger ownership? What could he achieve at Liverpool than what he hasn't achieved at Atletico? Yes, he's won before in the past, the same way Jurgen Klopp has won before in the past, but he hasn't won recently, and I'm assuming you're upset with Klopp because he hasn't won recently and he's made mistakes recently. Simeone is prone to mistakes, so try and not make the mistake of, because you don't watch him every week, okay, now Simeone. Also, Klopp has made it to more European finals, so we have a better European heritage and a European heritage manager in Jurgen Klopp than Simeone. Simeone's never won a Champions League, Jurgen Klopp's won one, and also got to 4 or 5 European finals, something crazy. Also, I don't know how many league titles Simeone has. Is it 2 in 10, 12 years? With a bit of investment, I think Jurgen Klopp could win 2 Premier Leagues in 12 years. So I disagree with Simeone. Mourinho would never join Liverpool, therefore an unrealistic option. Both are unrealistic, by the way. So the fact you want Klopp out and you haven't got a solution, already not me, but you, is a problem. That is a big, big problem. Because you're saying, let's sack a manager with no solution. James and Hamza, joint ownership 2024. Who's Hamza? Is that Hussam? Is Hussam got like another name? Who's Hamza? James, when will Klopp start favouring players? Stop favouring players? Hopefully next season. Hopefully next season. Team is getting old. Klopp playing the same for years. Virgil van Dijk is getting slow, but we haven't been playing the same for years. We tried to change, it didn't work, and now we've got to go back to basics. We tried to changed the system. It never worked out, and now it's just a case of we need to improve the squad depth. It's a Klopp thing, it's an ownership thing, it's an everyone thing, but I always put the majority of the blame on the owners. No, not Conte, not Simeone, and not Mourinho. Says Mikey, I don't want boring park, the bus football. Football is a winning game, but it's also our entertainment. No guarantee any of them win a trophy for us at all. 100% agree. Why wouldn't Sheik sack Klopp? The Sheiks would only want the best. Also, Atletico doesn't spend more than us. Over the years of Klopp's tenure, he has more to spend. Atletico Madrid don't spend more than Liverpool. Didn't they spend 100 million on Felix? And in comparison to what they are, in comparison to the teams above them, aren't City way more superior than that? I don't know. Really strange options for me. Even if what you say is right, and let's say Atletico do spend less than Liverpool, that's interesting for me to consider Simeone and Mourinho as the long-term solutions to Jurgen Klopp. Top show as usual, James says, here to there. Thank you for the super chat, sir. You absolute legend. Really appreciate it. You're a G. You're a G, you're a G, you're a G. Guys, if you can smash the likes, that'd be great. I'll answer a few more of your questions. Give Klopp quality options, and he won't favour players. May sign Thuram, but what if he isn't great? He's not proven, so may have to go back to someone he is good then, so need proven players. And this is another thing. We've seen Klopp can do great things with a great Dortmund team, so if you can get Klopp the right players, like what he had at Dortmund when he had Lewandowski, Gundogan, Royce, all these players, he won the league and he got to a European final, which was great for Dortmund. Then Liverpool, who hadn't won a league in 30 years, comes to Liverpool, right? Then wins every single trophy that there is to win with Liverpool Football Club, simultaneously getting 3 Champions League finals. If you give him the players that he needs and the players that he favours, then he won't need to favour said options, because now you're giving him new options. So we've established that Jurgen Klopp doesn't have 100% control over transfers. We've also kind of established that if he did, that'd be a problem, because keeping James Milner was a weird decision, and that's one thing I always stand by. I only ever use that point to prove to you that he doesn't have 100% control, but it's one that I would have massively disagreed with if the owners listened to him. So there's 2 things we've learned there. Let's not listen to Klopp regarding transfers, because we don't anyway, because he wanted Julian Brandt and we didn't get Julian Brandt. So that's a good thing. But now that means whoever is in control of the transfers needs to make the proper right decision. Do you get what I'm saying now, chat? So, okay, Jurgen Klopp's bad at transfers. Okay, Jurgen Klopp favours players. But he's not in control of the squad financially, of terms of ins and outs. I'm not saying he doesn't have an influence. The same way a fan base has an influence on a squad. If Man United liked Maguire slightly more, he probably wouldn't be getting pushed out the club. It's about favoured, but he favours players because he hasn't got the people that he can trust to replace these favoured players. Would you replace one of your most trusted captains in Henderson with someone who barely looks committed like Naby Keita? Would you want... You need to... So if Jurgen Klopp isn't good at identifying transfers and doesn't have control of the transfers, the people who are in control of the transfers should now accommodate a world-class manager, a proven winner, with the right players, because we've seen that if he has the right players, he wins. I overcomplicated that much more than I needed to. Exactly, James. If he gets backed, he'll turn things around. Exactly. In simple terms. De Zerbi fits the role, but I want him after Klopp leaves. Yeah, De Zerbi needs more time for me to officially say, okay, boom. Jurgen Klopp, like, he was a world-class manager before he joined Liverpool. Everyone respected what he did at Dortmund. Made them one of the most exciting teams in Europe. One of the most loved teams in Europe. And a winning team. Won them the Bundesliga. Last manager to win the Bundesliga without a team that's called Bayern Munich. First manager to win Liverpool the Premier League in 30 almighty years under an FSG ownership. With not all control on the transfers. And he doesn't need to have control over the transfers. Because quite clearly we've seen that maybe that wouldn't go well. But that's now FSG's job to accommodate in the squad. Klopp is better than any manager in the league. It's so simple as that. As we are all on the same roller coaster, as let's relax and enjoy as fans, guys. Do you know what? I agree with Johnny. It's just a shame. It's just a shame that the game is based on winning, and the owners don't want to accommodate Klopp's history and picture by giving him the resources to win. João Felix was one signing. We spent 100 million on Núñez. That doesn't mean we spent a lot of money. I've already conceded the Atletico Madrid argument. Okay, so fair enough. Atletico Madrid spend less money than Liverpool. Fine, you win. Still don't know why we should get Simeone over Klopp. doesn't scream serial winner to me at all. When he's never won a European Cup and he's won 2 league titles, does not scream European or serial winner to me one bit. Same with Jose Mourinho, whose most recent trophy is a Europa League. A Europa Conference League, and before that it was a Europa League in 2016. I struggle to identify those as the suitable replacements for a guy who has done what Jurgen Klopp has done. Nunes has had his year now. Now it's crunch time for him, and he doesn't perform. We need to sign him off the wage bill. 100%. I 100% agree. If you can get 50 million for Nunes next summer, if he has another bad season, or 60, then I think you jump on that. Because that's not a Salah situation where, let's not sell Nunes because what he could become. We don't want to sell Salah because we know what he is and what he can be and what he has been. Nunes, we don't know. And if he has another bad season, I agree. I think we should probably let him go. I wouldn't say investments can guarantee success. Pochettino played fluid football at Tottenham. But he was pale shadow in PSG despite the money. True. It's about efficient football, I agree. What's funny is that 99% of clubs are not profitable. You cannot be profitable and win consistently. We can stop acting like profits matter. They don't. To any team but us, exactly. And it's because of the narrative that FSG want to spin, and they do very, very well because then fans like Johnny believe in what they're saying. And that's why I try and bring things up, like James Milner, the James Milner situation, to show you physically what you think about Jurgen Klopp's position of the football club is wrong. Therefore, when you blame Jurgen Klopp, you're blaming a false perception you have of Klopp. Therefore, even though it might not be wrong to blame Klopp, you're blaming him for the wrong things. You might be getting the right maths answer, but you've done the wrong working out. Therefore, you don't get all the marks. And if you don't get all the marks, you haven't got there the right way. Therefore, you've got a flawed way of thinking. If you've got a flawed way of thinking, how can you be the person who's trusted? That's why when I make decisions, I've got to try and back it up with some sort of substance. And you very rarely see me use a journalist. I will report journalist stories like transfer news, and then I'll tell you whether they're legit or not. That's the way I roll. I don't agree and go on the bandwagon, because said it means it's going to happen. I break down the context. What is today's news is not next week's news. Nabil Fekir was literally a Liverpool player. But then after the medicals, something happened. So for a moment in time, all the journalists who said, Nabil Fekir, here we go, Nabil Fekir joining Liverpool, were right. Until they were proven wrong. And that's the way the football game should be. You need to be listening until you get proven wrong. And I just haven't been proven wrong on some of the things in which you spoke about. Or I don't feel I have until I get someone on the stream. James, was Paisley better than Fergie? I believe he was. Before I read the rest of it, I believe he was. And what is your favourite Liverpool era to watch looking back? Can say current? I would probably say the between 2018 and 2021. I think that was the best time, no doubt. And that's only because I weren't born during the 70s and 80s and early 70s to late 80s. I weren't born in that time. As much as I would have loved to have seen Hansen, Dalglish, all these players, just performing at the top of their game, weren't my era, so I can't fully speak on if that team was better or not. But in terms of a longevity point of view, it's not even a question. Atleti's style evolved the second half of the year once they were able to play Griezmann post his contract. Maybe. But also Atletico Madrid can pay significantly higher wages than we can, which is why they can have a Griezmann. What I meant to say before about the Atletico Madrid thing is that even if they don't spend more money than us, they can offer more wages than we do. They can get Griezmanns. We can't get Griezmann. If we wanted Griezmann, we'd never get Griezmann. And it's not a club reason why we can't get Griezmann. It's an FSG reason why we can't get Griezmann. James, did you see Trent's performance and goal today? Yeah, I saw the goal and I never saw the performance, but even if he played 10 out of 10, I don't care because it was against Malta. I don't want Liverpool fans getting too excited on the Trent thing in midfield just because of one good game and, what's basically a friendly. I was Liverpool since... wait there. I am a Liverpool fan since 72. They were all beasts. Got to take your word for it, sir. Simeone has won 4 European trophies and got 2 UCL finals. 2 titles against negative football. 4 European trophies. Chat, where did Simeone? Where's his 4 European trophies, chat? I can be near. Where was Simeone before Atletico? Does he have 4 European trophies, or am I... Wait there, what European trophies are we talking about? I'm confused here. Just, Atletico Madrid won the Europa League. That can't be true, surely. Simeone, European Cups. Honours. Okay, so he has won the Europa League twice and the UEFA Super Cup twice. Lay down on the 4 European Cups, you know what I mean? In that case, Jurgen Klopp's got 2 European Cups. Is that... No, 2 European Cups. To be fair, in terms of European Cups, Simeone's got more European Cups than Klopp when you break it down, but I don't know, man. No Champions Leagues. I thought, like, you made that sound dead impressive. Me, you should be a lawyer. Like, you should sell for people. Like, you made that sound well better than what it was. I saw it, 2 Europa Leagues, 2 Super Cups. That makes a lot more sense. Makes a lot more sense. People think Núñez can improve like Salah or Mane because of his age, but he's got a lot of basics still rusty, which is very hard to prove or to improve. Wow, my foot feels really dead right now because of the way I'm sitting. What's it called? Very hard to improve. Yeah. Núñez isn't going to be improving significantly anytime soon. I can bet you that for free. Oh, shout out to Esther. Missed your girl. Hope you're well. Simeone won 2 Europa Leagues and 2 Super Cups. Yeah. Man made it sound like as if he won like 4 proper European trophies, you know. Like in that case, can't we say that Jurgen Klopp's just won 7 trophies and not care that one of them was a Club World Cup and one of them was a Community Shield? Can we just claim them? So I actually can claim that United and us won the same amount of trophies last year. I can, based off that logic. 4 European Cups in Simeone's eyes. Come on. Wait there, so that means we actually won the treble before Manchester City. Because we won the League Cup, the FA Cup, and the Europa League. Guys, it doesn't matter. Context doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's just European Cups. We won the FA Cup, League Cup, and Europa League in 2001, the year that James was born. That's amazing, chat. We've got to recognise the greatness. Diego Simeone has got 2 Champions League against Madrid. You mentioned Klopp's final against Bayern. Yeah, Jurgen Klopp also has 2 finals against Real Madrid, and he lost both of them, but he also won 1 final. Oh, against who? Spurs. And here's the thing, even in that same year, Klopp and Diego Simeone went head-to-head in terms of matchups. He faced Luis Suarez. Maybe not that year, actually. In fact, I think that was a little bit later. I don't know, man. It's close. Diego Simeone's a class manager. You're making me diminish him, which is like a poor way of arguing for me. I'm kind of falling into your trap there. He's not a bad manager. I just don't understand how you guarantee he improves us if we got chic owners, which is what your original point was. Red Chili, thank you for the super chat. Got to pop to the shop before they close at 11. Trent Alexander-Arnold. Bomber clot! I nearly hit the 400 squid super chat. Gonna get a beer. Jeez. Enjoy your beer, fam. And I appreciate the super chat, sir. You're a ledge. Thuram will be another Núñez. Some good assets and overhyped. A lot of people play FIFA where has good special card and think Thuram automatically be crazy. Yeah, the majority of the people who are getting hyped over Thuram have never watched Thuram in a 90-minute football match. So, I take the words with very little substance. Big up, James. Keep grinding, bro. Thank you, LJ. Appreciate that, sir. And them super chats like actually help out the channel. I appreciate it. The video earlier got like limited monetization as well. So some of these super chats are making up for the daily revenue. So thank you, chat, honestly. I need to like be transparent like with you and just say like you literally make this channel what it is. So I appreciate it. And even if we disagree, don't think it's coming from a bad place, mate. We just disagree from a footballing point of view. It's nothing major. It's nothing to cry about. I love every single one of you. And the reason why I'd never want anyone to be banned because of the language, unless you were spamming and just being a tit. But I mean, just because of the language is because I'm a believer in free speech, and regardless whether we agree or disagree, it's important to come to the common ground. I've seen some ruthlessness from Klopp this season, and we need it from next season as well. Yeah, people act like Klopp has never had to make ruthless decisions, but he has, and it's actually paid off, and he's always adapted to circumstances. James, I love Núñez, but you don't seem to like him. Do you think he is in a similar boat to what Benteke was? Good striker, but wrong system. I know Benteke went shit after us. It's not that I don't like Núñez. I don't like his finishing ability. So I like Núñez as a person. I actually think he has the potential to be a superstar if it went well. But I don't think he's the striker. And I said this at the time because at the time we were chasing the quadruple. When we signed him, the objective was him to take us from second place to first place, and that never happened. And it's because, and I said before he joined, the reason why he had a world-class game against Liverpool was because he faced a team that had a high line. Teams in the Premier League don't usually play a high line against Liverpool, and he's not very technical, and his shooting is very inconsistent. So even if you can get him to run in behind the odd time, He then needs to convert his chances at a high impressive rate, and he can't do that because he hasn't got good finishing, and his finishing can only get so much better as time goes by. Like someone said Salah the other day, like, oh, look at Salah's finishing. Salah's finishing ability has always been the same, but you're right. If he got in a better system, you gave him more chances, then yes, he can score goals. So I see Núñez, like, Núñez could do well, but maybe Núñez is that sort of long-term Salah replacement, and because he's not a right winger, we just don't know about it. But in terms of numbers, where you do get him adhering to the system, maybe I do need to be a little bit more patient. But I just think there's a lot of things that even Salah can do that Núñez can't. I think Salah's significantly better than Núñez, so that's where I stand. But it's not about not liking the person, just some of the attributes. I think Xabi Alonso, post-Klopp, what do you think? Need to see a lot more. Everyone was saying this when Gerrard was... Gerrard literally done the invincible with Rangers. Never lost a league game. Never lost a league game. He done that with Rangers. And everyone was saying, let's get Gerrard. We need to wait and see a bigger case study before we rush Xabi Alonso or anybody. As bad as we were defensively this season, if Núñez finished most of his chances, we would have got top 4. We would have, but people don't want to hear it because he can improve, apparently. And only time will tell. Only time will tell. He got 15 goals this season, Núñez, but just imagine if he put away the chances he was given. But because he's not a good finisher, he never put away those chances, so it's a tough one. It's like, does he need the Salah amount of chances to score goals? And if so, then why did we get him while we've got Salah? Núñez will be a monster next season, trust me. A monster in what sense? Because his finishing hasn't looked significantly improved, and his dribbling still is what it is, and his passing is. So I just want to know why. Is it just a feeling? You think he could? Do you think collectively as a team we're going to get better, so then therefore Núñez will get better? There could be a reason behind what you're saying. I just want to know what it is. Suarez had a bad character, and I don't get how people don't want an arsehole that what made Suarez so good, he got underneath your skin. Yeah, he was a horrible bastard, mate, and you can disagree with the things he done, or the way he done, but shoulda, woulda, coulda, convo. I feel like that's all we talk about. Get me in, lads. Johnny, before we wrap up the stream, I'll send you the stream. If you want to chat shit about something, I'll send you the stream. If you've got a problem with me, I'll tell you. Chat, before we end this stream, we're going to invite Johnny because apparently he's got something to say. Johnny, I'm not getting emotional tonight. I'm going to let you lead the dance and I'll respond, okay? Let me find you. Where are you, mate? Where are you? There you are. Okay. Johnny is coming on for a 2.0 chat. He's coming on for a 2.0. James drop, bench start. Trent, Robbo, Cancelo, primes. Ooh. Drop, Cancelo, bench Robbo, start Trent. Oh, that's a ruthless one, weren't it, chat? That's a ruthless one. No bias whatsoever. But for me, Núñez was our best attacker throughout the whole season. No. Actually, in terms of an all-round game, maybe, but nah, it was Salah. Or Firmino. Nah, actually, it was Firmino or Salah. My opinion, it weren't Núñez. So many top players miss so many chances, but they can score so many too because they have ridiculous amounts overall. Maybe. Anyway, here's the man, the myth, the legend. That is Johnny Holiday. What's up, man?
How you doing, mate?
I'm amazing, brother. How are you?
I'm all right, mate. I just wanted to get the point across quickly that the
no, you never. You just wanted to cause shit.
Nah, mate. I'm just wanting to state a few facts with some evidence this time because I know you're a man of evidence. You like proof, don't you?
Thank you, sir.
That's all right, buddy. So, on this argument I'm about to put forward to you, the squad from 2020 that won us the league is by far the most depth we've ever had and the best team we've ever had. And the evidence for that is simply the points tally we got that year.
Okay. So the season that we got 99 points is the best team overall?
Yeah, with the likes of Lallana, Shaqiri,
I disagree.
Chamberlain.
Do you want me to tell you why I think that it was the best team?
You think the quadruple, yeah, don't you?
No, I said that could be, but do you know what? Do you know what actually was the best team?
What?
The season before what you've just mentioned.
You think the year we won the Champions League?
Yes.
But then who would you say we lost from that team that took us down a level? Because I thought we went up a level because we got more points than that year when we won the league.
Even
though we didn't do as well in the Champions League.
Do you want me to tell you something? I actually think we were better in the season where we won the Champions League, right? And here's my point. In the season where we won the league, let me know if you agree with this. You go with the game, so you should know this as well. It was a lot of narrow 1-0s, 2-1s. The best we were getting was a 3-1. It was very rare to see a 5-0, 4-0 that season. Would you agree with that one? Like, we've probably seen more bigger scores the season just gone by.
Maybe when we won, what was it? Was it 4-1 or 5-1?
Maybe. Oh, yeah, when Trent had a good game.
Yeah,
that
exactly.
one, didn't he?
He did the Mbappe.
Yeah, but besides that, it was like just 2-1s, 1-0s.
Yeah.
The point is because it was a good structured team, and it was very efficient. The season before, that team was so efficient to the point where they won the Champions League and they still got 97 points. They still had insane winning streaks and whatnot. So I think it's fine margins, to be honest with you, lad. Like, I think either one was good enough.
Yeah, true. But then I also think that you got to remember the year we won the Champions League, we had City pushing us for the league every single step of the way. Whereas the year after, City fell off the level and it was a big drop. So we was out at one point 20 points clear, weren't we? It was incredible. Nobody could believe it. We was walking the league.
Yeah. It's tough because we got knocked out by Atletico Madrid in the Champions League as well due to unfortunate circumstances, and it was a weird one that year because COVID ended
Well, that game
ended
shouldn't
up
have
kicking
even been played.
Yeah, you know what? Maybe you're right, and that's a different conversation. But I think it's close, to be honest. I'm actually fine to let you win that one. I'm fine to let you win it. I wouldn't agree because, again, I think on paper, 2 less points in the Champions League is more significant to me than just the Premier League. I've always said Champions League to Premier League as well. Like,
yeah, definitely. And
it's
just simply no. It's just logic, isn't it? Like, if you're a good team, even like the likes of like Wolves, for example, you get a chance at winning the Premier League every year. The only chance you get at winning the Champions League is if you finish in the top 4, and then you have to do it again to even try.
Yeah, exactly. Well, this is what I say is, like, every team that's not called Nottingham Forest have got more league titles than Champions League titles. Unless you're, a very small-minded fan and you say football has only existed for 18 years, then that's a flawed premise, because then that means, if football only existed from 1990 onwards, then that means everything that happens in the 80s doesn't matter. So you're implying things that happened 7 years prior doesn't matter. Well, that means Man United's league trophies over 10 years ago don't matter, because apparently history doesn't matter. So it's going to get to a point where them 13 Premier Leagues Alex Ferguson had don't matter if you just want to use that logic. What was the original point that I was leading towards today? I always do them little side quests to where, like, oh yeah, there's United fans, I need to get them. There's Arsenal fans, I need to get them. There's Johnny, I need to get him. So I do interfere myself sometimes, but yeah, we're boss, aren't we, Johnny?
Oh yeah, lad, you know it.
We're just boss, lads. We're just boss. Johnny, I'm knackered. Your boss.
Yeah, same,
your
mate.
Boss. My G. Thank you for coming on, though.
No worries, mate. Anytime. It's great to debate with you.
Yeah,
same,
man,
bro.
and you.
I'll catch you in a bit, yeah.
And you, man. Much love to Johnny, guys. Make sure that you give Johnny a lot of love in the chat. We'll read a couple more comments and then we'll dusty. Liverpool 2005 weren't a great side, but they did the unthinkable and won the Champions League. To the league, you need to be the best team throughout the season. Yeah. I think you need the best squad throughout the season. I think the Champions League determines the best 11. But then if it's the best team, a squad is a team, isn't it? So maybe you're right. It's only when people say longevity is the sole premise of what goes into it. When if you want to value stats, then statistically it is literally harder to win the Champions League. Also, you play in the Premier League every single year. Also, there's context that comes into the Premier League. Like, the same way it does in the Champions League, to be fair. But you play in the Premier League every single year. You don't play in the Champions League every single year. You have less opportunities to win the Champions League. And you're constantly playing the best teams. If you lose a game in the Premier League, it's not the end of the world. If you lose a game in the knockout stages, it's over. That's fine margins. The Premier League, you've got time to recover. You've got time to improve with a big squad, especially if you're a big spending team. But the reason why the Champions League is harder because you're not playing Bournemouth, you're playing Atletico Madrid or AC Milan, and you're playing them in a knockout stage game where if you lose, you've got no chance of coming back. It's not like there's a relay. So Champions League for me is factually harder to win than the Premier League, hence why I would always prefer the Champions League to the Premier League. It's a superior achievement. It's more aligned with what Liverpool do in my lifetime. Because in recent times, it's been much easier for us to win the Champions League than the Prem. But it's all circumstantial. Like, there'll be some Premier League teams better than certain Champions League teams. It depends how you phrase the question, to be honest. But guys, I think I'm going to give it a day there. That was a good, custy stream. It's the longest stream that we've probably done ever since I've come back. 1 hour, 40 minutes. Guess what? I fully intended on only doing about 20 minutes. Not even messing. I came on and I said I'm going to do 20 minutes. But the second that the chat started flowing, yous kept the questions going. I've just got to sit there and say thank you to every single one of you chat. None of you ever asked for my, biblical beliefs or anything like this. But, I am a practicing Christian and I've been through a tough year, mate, and I haven't always been a practicing Christian, but the second that I started aligning with Jesus and just started going on a bit more straight and narrow path, I weren't doing anything illegal. I'm just saying, just stupid things that, you fall into the trap of laziness or the temptation of going out all the time and just things that don't adhere to your truest potential. And now I feel like because of Jesus, I'm doing things that adhere to my truest potential. And, what's pretty cool is that I feel like Jesus is using all you guys to show me, like, James, you're doing well, because I see you guys constantly messaging me saying, James, keep up the content, keep up the streams, are you live tonight? And you're always interacting and you're always liking and you're always doing these things, and you don't have to like it. I love the way people come on and say, James, I disagree with everything you say, but I appreciate the fact that you create discussion and we're open to discussion and common discourse, because I think the reason why you're seeing England, for instance, or Western society going completely down the drain is because there's no premise, there's no moral compass, there's no willing to discuss, and that's why you'll get people in certain realms saying, yes, it's fine to teach kids in school certain things. And yeah, people say don't get too political about football. The only point I'm raising is that when I can come on my own platform and have an audience that adheres to the same beliefs that I do, I don't mean biblically. I mean from a standpoint that, yes, we can disagree, but we can still chat. And yes, we can get heated, but it doesn't mean we hate each other. It's all love chat. It's all love. And that's exactly like what I want everyone to realise in this chat. I want everybody to realise in this chat, like, it's a family, it's love, and whether you're a believer or not, just know that Jesus loves you too. I'm not preaching to you, I'm not forcing anything onto you, I'm telling you from my point of view. This is what my father told me. He told me that he loves me, and he told me that he loves everybody, therefore that implies that he loves you. Don't let the devil tell you otherwise, mate, that's for sure. But the point of that mini thing is that Jesus has helped me a lot, and I wouldn't be where I am now without him. And in turn, I'm very happy that he put all you in my life, because you guys really, really boost me in terms of improvement, in terms of keeping myself accountable. If I'm wrong, you guys correct me. And I really appreciate that. Shout out to Esther. Discussion is important, I agree. Ryan says, love that, James. Good to see you again, and your words are inspiring. Ryan, you're amazing. The fact that you're still here is crazy. And a member still. That's amazing. Thank you, brother. You've invested into this channel for a long, long time, and I appreciate that. Mate, honestly, keep up the good work. I love that you actually debate with your subscribers and give us a voice. A lot of other channels do not even acknowledge the comments. The bare minimum. I wouldn't be able to do this. I wouldn't do this if you weren't in the chat. It's the reason why I go live. That's why it's so bad in the West these days. Yeah, it was just, I weren't bringing that up to be political. I was just using it as a reference that if you have no moral compass, then you can go down the path that I was going down, which was transparency, just smoking all the time and doing stuff that you shouldn't be doing. I came back from work and I had a little desperado, but I've still got me 2 uploads done today. I've got all the work that I've done today. I went to the gym earlier. And that's all through the power of Christ. I can't do it by myself. I told Jesus I can't do it by myself. I need you to help me. I need some assistance. Ever since Jesus has been helping me, I've went from being the most inconsistent YouTuber on YouTube to being the guy who posts 2 times a day, every day, for the best part of 11 to 12 days. Now listen, only through the will of Christ and only if it aligns with his will that continue. But I fully intend on keeping on improving, keep on becoming better. And then in the long term, I want to see us all, not just me, all of us prosper. I want to see us all messaging in the chat. James, I've had a tough things happen, but I've took the right lessons out of those things, because it's a tough world we live in. But if we can take the right lessons out of the wrong situations, you can be the most stoppable, most strong person ever. And don't let no elite, don't let no higher up, don't let no government, don't let no manipulated choice tell you that you are limited or you are oppressed. Chat, don't ever let anyone diminish your potential. Don't let anyone, oh, you can't do this because of this, or you're oppressed because of this. It's everywhere you see. It's unfortunate, but a lot of people have got the very victim mentality, and even people I like, I've seen, they've got a very similar thing. Don't put that on yourself. Recognise your greatness. Recognise what you can do and believe in yourself. And listen, you don't need one night stands. You need Jesus. You know what I mean? That's what we're signing it off as. Have you seen that clip where he goes, you don't need one night stand, man. You need Jesus, fam. Big up yourselves, man. Guys, I'm going to get off. Much love to you and your mothers, and I'll see you all hopefully tomorrow for another beautiful stream. God bless.